Let's do it. 7.3 extension or external bit 7. We've got a nominative. This caliditas, this cunningness, was similar to another vaframento, another cunning device or strategy. And, I think that's full stops in the wrong place. A superior Hannibal, or Hannibal earlier on, by the consul Duilius, it looks like, in a naval battle, a prolio navale, been divictus, he'd been beaten, so this earlier Hannibal had been beaten in a naval battle, and he was timensing. He was fearing that he'd have to pay the penalty of having lost his fleet. He averted this offence or wrongdoing, miraculously, with some astuteness. Nam ex illa in felicae pugna, for from that unlucky battle, priusquam, prior then, what have we got, the Cladus, the disaster at home, reached, prevented, Nuntius, so before a message of this disaster reached home, prevented without the in or the ad, a certain person, a quendam from his friends, composed and formatted, looks like he's prepared himself, he misted to Carthage. So he sent home to Carthage a message, with another friend who had something prepared prior to the message of him in the unlucky battle that he lost. Qui, who, this guy sent, postquam, after he entered the curia, it's the senate house of its civilization, of this city of Carthage, or the local curia, this guy inquired. He said, Hannibal wants to consult you on a matter. Now, when the Dux, the general of the Romans, seek him with him, advenerates, when he comes, dragging with himself Magnus, great maritime copia, great naval fleet, whether with them ought he confligurate, ought he to confligurate, to have conflict with them, do you think? So it's a question. It's not a question mark there, though. Had clamovited, so shouted out universally, the Senate, with non dubium, no doubt that, Quinn is goes with the phrase non dubium, there's no doubt that he ought to, he porteret. Then he, this friend of Hannibal, he inquired. He said he conflicted with him, and he was superatus est, and he was overcome. Ita. So thus, he non reliquit, he didn't leave his to them any freedom to condemn this fact that had been done, because ipsi themselves had judged that this ought to have been done. Debuisi fieri. Now, external bit 8, there's a bit of a difference in scripts. One has alter, one has item, and another one has alter item. So another Hannibal is doing the same. In the accusative, we have Fabius Maximus, invictam, which means he was unbeaten of his salubris. So with very healthy delayings of battle, had been being very playful. Anyway, so we'll go back to this nominative. This Hannibal, so that with some suspicion of dragging out the war, Hannibal was sprinkling up, so he could sprinkle about some suspicion of dragging out the war. It looks like Fabius Maximus had been unbeaten with this healthy action of delaying battles, and so he preserved his own armaments, his own men. Anyway, the sentence goes on. All of Italy, Totius of Italy, of the fields of Italy, with sword and with fire, Hannibal had been devastating, and it looks like one of his, must be Fabius Maximus, his fundums, one of his farms had been immune, left out from, reliquate had been left over from this type of action. So it looks like everywhere in Italy had been wiped out with sword and fire, except for the one home, this one of the unique one of Fabius Maximus is his own farm had been left immune. Proficesced. It would have had an effect, aliquid some effect of such a kindness with this insidious action. Here we've got an aberration, which is a shadow. Okay, except that the city of Rome, they notissimo, they knew well the piety of Fabius and the mores, the vaffrae, the cunning mores of Hannibal. Okay, so it was Hannibal that left one farm in all of Italy that wasn't devastated by fire and the sword, and it was the farm of Fabius Maximus. Hannibal was trying to make it look like to the Romans that Fabius had no piety, but they were smart enough to know that this was just the vaffrae mores of Hannibal. Okay. External bit 9. The Tusculans even were in Colomutus, had the safety with a pater est. They had a bit of acumen, a bit of cunningness also of counsel or of planning. For when, in frequent rebellions, they had merited that the city of them fundatus to the ground, so that the Romans should want to overturn the city to the ground or to the foundations. Okay, so they frequently rebelled and they deserved for the city to be razed. And to following this out, exequendum to this, Furius Camillus, a Maximus Dux, a great general, he had instructed, he'd drawn up a very valid, strong exercitu army, and he had venised that he had come with his army strongly drawn up. Universally, togatide means wearing a toga, obviam eam. Obviam takes the dative, so they come out to meet him. They processeranted, they progressed out to meet him. And comitus, which can mean provisions or a bit of a holiday if you're on a campaign, so it looks like provisions here. And the rest of the munia, the rest of the gifts of peace, they prestideranted most kindly, or benignissime. So the great army come with this guy, and they all come out and gave him gifts. Etiam, even to enter the walls, passo sunt, they allowed or bore it. So Camillus Maximus Dux came in armed. Neither on their face, on the voltu, nor in their clothing did they change. So they turned up to come inside a city, and they let him come in. They didn't change their facial appearances, which constantia or steadfastness or whatever, consistency of tranquility, their tranquil constantinence, not only gave them the jus, the right to the friendship with us, to our friendship, but even as far as usque, they had penetrated or obtained a common state of civitatis with Rome. So basically they become equal partnerships of having citizenship. Remember they were togatide, etc. By Hercules, this sagacious, this very wise use or act of, in its simplicity, since they understood it was more aptio, more useful to dissimulate or to get rid of their fear than to protect or to cover it up with arms. Okay, so this office is just duty or something. So they understood it would be better to not show fear in this act of duty than to try and fight with Rome or whatever you want to call it. External bit 10, 7.3. But of the leader of Tullius, of the leader of the Voscorums, there's an execrable or a very debased sort of concilium plan, who, to inferendum bellum, to bring in war to the Romans, he was Acensus, he was burning with a maximum cupidity, he had a maximum desire to bring war to the Romans, and when several contusus animus, so when he saw the minds of his men had been contused or blunted by battles, Proleus, which had gone adverse, it turned out badly, and because of this, he noticed and adverted that they were more prone towards peace. With an insidious way of thought, a ration, he compelled them to go to where he wanted. Okay, so here's the Daily Dictionary. Proficio, we saw it earlier, and proficescit had been to make, accomplish, or effect. And back to the plot. So, for when, gratia, for the sake, post-positive to genitives, for the sake of seeing games, a magna, a great multitude of Volscorums, Volsci, they had convened at Rome, they'd come to Rome. He had said to the consuls, vehemently, there was a bit of, they should fear naquid, that something suddenly hostile, they might be striving, and he advised it so that they were very cautious and Protonus, and immediately himself he aggressed us from the city. So he said there could be something hostile about to happen, and then he himself ran out of the city. Quem rem, which matter the consuls detoleranted, or took to the Senate. And the Senate, who, temenetsi, although suberat, there was no suspicion. It looks like a compound, maybe taking that. Anyway, nevertheless, by the commotus, moved by the authority of Tullius, so that before night they decreed the Volsci had to go. Okay, so we're nearly done now. Just got down to there. Yeah, subrate command at hand as well. So which contumelia, which insult was able easily to impel them to be very irritated towards rebellion. And thus, by the versuteness or the cunningness of this lie of a leader, or the simulation or by pretense of goodwill, benevolent, was wrapped up in it, was convolutum in it. At the same time, two people were he deceived. Romans, that they stigmat or noted the innocent party, the insolentes, and the volascum, so that they were annoyed by this deception or distrust. And that's it.